Good evening, Raider fans, and welcome to the Raider Nation podcast. And I'm your host, Raider Greg, and this is the post-game show for the Tennessee Titans. We are victorious! Yes, we are victorious in the game that I was really worried about all the way up to the last touchdown, the 44-yard TD pass from Collins to Porter. Before I get into the game and the highlights and lowlights that I thought, let me get into the injury report. Bobby Hamilton has an injured ankle. Doesn't seem to be too bad. He probably will play against the hated rivals, Kansas City. John Paul Fauci has a finger injury. He did have surgery. However, he's scheduled to play. Delawrence Grant. I always say Dolores. Delawrence Grant is working out. He's starting to improve, and he certainly might play. Moss should be 100% this game. I'm looking forward to him actually making a breakout in this game and having some good plays and being very productive. He has to be. Asamoah was injured, and so was Swaggart in this game, but both of them have recovered and seem to be doing well, and they both are practicing. So as far as injuries, we still only have Woodson and Gibson out, which are big for us, especially when we're going into Arrowhead Stadium, one of the loudest in the NFL, as told by everybody in the league. So let's get right to the game recap. And first, let me just take a look here real quick and go over who we've beat. We beat Dallas Cowboys, which is a significant win because the Cowboys are on a roll. They're actually doing very well against very good teams. So the fact that we did beat Dallas is a big deal for us, especially at that time of the year. It wasn't the beginning of the season. They were getting it together, and we beat them at home, and we beat them pretty well. So I see that as a good win. The Bills, we should have beat them. However, the Bills played very well against New England and hung in there until the last quarter. I'm actually the last second of the last quarter. So that was a good win too. The Titans, well, they're 2-6 and they're hurting. And they're hurting all over the place because they got a lot of injuries. And I would consider that to be a definite win. I would have listed that as a win before the season even started. Okay, let's take a look. Oakland looked awesome in the first quarter. The first three possessions were money. We hammered down the field like they were butter. The defense was just folding over. The last score being a 17-yard TD patch to, of course, Lamont Jordan, who ran it in convincingly like he did. But after that, and that was Collins' ninth TD, as a matter of fact, ninth TD pass. The Titans came right back with an 80-yard drive, which was pretty easy for them to do, and they made it 17. The score was 17-6 because they missed the extra point. Now, Pac-Man Jones ran a ball back 34 yards. I mean, this is the return and the poor tackling I've been talking about the Raiders' special teams. They really have to get this tackling situation under control. 34 yards, and it set up a score for Tennessee, and the score became 17-12 with 7 minutes left in the half. The ensuing kickoff from Oakland, when we had to kick the ball off, 82-yard TD run by Pac-Man Jones that would call back by a penalty. Boy, that one was a close call because that would have put them up and given them some wind in their sails. Bad thing. That special teams play, like I said, tackling. Very important. Shane Lettler is awesome as usual, but we really have to start tackling on those special teams. Warren Sapp causes a fumble. Jared Cooper takes the fumble into the end zone, recovers it actually for a touchdown, bring the Raiders up 24-12. With 20 seconds left in the half, 20 seconds, Kerry Collins throws into double coverage, interception. They run it back for a TD. That brings us to 24-22. McNair drives 55 yards and another play. It looked like they were going to go all the way down the field, but the defense came up big, sacked him, and got a fumble, and we took the ball away. After that, the score then was 27-25. They were very close to winning this game in the fourth quarter. It was not a decisive victory, as other people are saying. We won, we beat them. We didn't beat them by that much, and it was just by chance and penalties that they didn't beat us. So, we need to really improve our play, as demonstrated by Lamont Jordan, the post-game interview, which I'll go over in just a moment. Then, of course, Porter had a 44-yard TD run, which made the score 34-25, which Pac-Man Jones really didn't even try to tackle Porter. And not saying that we wouldn't have scored on that drive, but I'm saying that, hey, it was a gift, and we'll take it. We'll take a victory anyways, and I'm glad we won. I'm so pumped that we won. It was good for the team. It was great for the fans, and it's good for our record. And that's all I have to say about it, except for this game was not a decisive victory, as some people I've talked to seem to have a delusion that it was a decisive victory. It was not a decisive victory. I thought for sure after the first quarter we were going to actually lambaste these guys, and the score would be something ridiculous, like 52-12 or 14. However, the Oakland Raiders sputtered on offense, gave up a couple of big things, big plays, and the defense did very, very well. But, when you're losing your defensive backs like we have, Woodson and Gibson, your offense really has to come up big. We're really going to have to score a lot of points, because you can expect for sure the rest of the season that every team we play is going to go deep on us. And that's exactly what Tennessee did. That's what they attempted to do. Great job by Swaggart. Great job by Asamoah. Some incredible defensive plays. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that those guys aren't consistent on every down, and they're going to get some balls thrown in there, and they're going to get some completions. And that's just the way it is in the NFL, and that's the way it's going to be for the Raiders. Now, knowing that, as far as the team goes, Norv Turner has got to prepare his offense to really put some points up. We need to be winning every game by 34 points. We should be putting up 34 points as an average for the rest of the season, because our defense is going to have a hard time keeping people out of that deep ball, which will give them a couple touchdowns every game. This whole idea of us only scoring up to 20 points a game should be history. It seems like it's history. It seems like we've gotten through that barrier and we're starting to score more. But we're going to have to score a lot more to keep the defense off the field and keep them rested, and B, to win a game and not win it in the last seconds of the fourth quarter. We do like to have decisive victories. I like them. I know all the Raider fans do. It's not always possible in the NFL. And let me make a reference to the New England Patriots. Those guys win in the fourth quarter with field goals. I mean, they've done it for 3 Super Bowls. And they've defeated some excellent teams by letting them hang around. The teams let them hang around and don't put the knife through their throat like they should. And in the last quarter, man, they come on strong and they put it to it. If the Raiders can do that every game, so be it. I'll be happy with that. I'm happy with a victory anyway. But I do see that our offense is going to really have to put up some big points in order for us to make it to that fourth quarter and stay right there and seal the win like we did right here with the Tennessee Titans. The game we're having this weekend, Sunday, which will be, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs, is a huge game. Not only is it a huge game for our momentum and our team, it is the biggest game for our season because it's an AFC champion. I all call them championships. You guys know what I call them. It's an AFC championship game for us. We need to beat these guys. So far in the division, I think we haven't won a game. We lost to San Diego, we've lost to Kansas City, and we definitely need to win this game in order to stay in the pack. Because if you look at the AFC, 16 teams out of 16, I think 9 or more have 4 losses or more. So if we win this game, we're going to be right back in the thick of it. And really, playoffs, we got to talk playoffs. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that go, oh, we're not in playoffs. We could be a playoff team. I've known this from the very beginning of the season. We have the personnel, we have the talent to do this. We have a talent to go on and win the next 4 games in a row. And people laugh and say, oh, there's no, you know what? There's total possible way. We have the talent, and if we have the right players doing the right things from the coach's point of view, coaching point of view, we could win the next 4 games. That would put us in a beautiful position, and we could definitely go to the playoffs. Now, that's not impossible. We have some very, very tough games coming up, And so be it. One game at a time. We'll talk about Kansas City here in the next day or two. And that's going to be a game in itself, because the Kansas City were beat up pretty big by San Diego, and they were demoralized. And they don't want to take another loss in the AFC West because they can't afford to, because they lost to Denver too. Denver came back and beat them in the last quarter too. So San Diego's looking for blood, but they ain't going to get our blood. We're going to have to take a little bit of their blood and take them down. That'll be good for us, real good for us. We need to. Talking about this game, the Titan game as well, the secondary performed excellent. Like I said, everybody put in something. Chris Carr played very well. Jared Cooper, the animal, I don't know where he came from, but he had an excellent game, played aggressive football, right on the money, no penalties. I mean, this is the kind of play we're going to have in this Kansas City game. Trent Green is no joke, and their receivers, yet they be old, they're experienced, and they can get separation from these young guys. We're going to need our defensive line to step up big time, like they did in this game. If our defensive line steps up just like they did, the possibility of beating the Chiefs is very, very real. Now, the offense played very well. Collins, with the exception of that interception, which he shouldn't have thrown. But, hey, you know what? That's football. But 11-year, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in Collins. As you all know, it's no secret, so I'm not going to hide it. There's no hiding it anyway. We need to keep our pass rush going. We need to keep our tight ends into the game more and use Crockett. Like I said last time, Crockett need to be used a little more. We're definitely going to need to use him in the Kansas City Chiefs game. But that being said, Crockett, the whole 9 yards, these guys played very well. It was interesting to see Tyler Brayton as a defensive end. He worked real well in this game against the Titans, put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, which was nice to see. So there's not a whole lot more I have to say about this game because everyone saw it pretty much. You saw what you saw. If you saw what I saw, it was a victory. I'm happy to see that. It was not a decisive victory. It wasn't something that we could go home and scream and yell about how we pummel them like we did with the Bills. And not every game's going to be that way. I don't expect it. That's not realistic. However, this team, I expected us to actually come out and pummel. And in the first quarter, I thought that's what was going to happen. But it didn't. Made it an interesting game, and you could watch the whole game because it was another one where I sat on my pins and needles to the very last touchdown, which was ours, and which was Porter's, actually. I did also mention in my last podcast that Porter was going to have a breakout game, and guess what? Lucky me, and more, lucky the team, and lucky the rest of us that he did have a breakout game. It was good because Gabriel was covered big time. Pac-Man Jones was all over him like a glove, and there was no way that he was going to get a pass thrown to him, not by Collins. Collins doesn't take a lot of chances. That's another thing Norv Turner said about Collins. He needs to take more chances. Well, he took a chance in the second quarter, and it burned us. Don't take any of those chances there, Kerry, because those don't work. Throwing in double coverage for you is not an option unless we're in the last second of the last part of the game and you think you can thread the needle. However, I do expect Collins to play better in this Kansas City Chief game. I don't want to see any more of these balls thrown out of bounds. He did it in the Titans game when he was starting to get pressure, and it really made me uncomfortable. Come on, Kerry, pick the ball up and throw it to somebody and stop throwing it out of bounds. And then when you throw it out of bounds and they pan away from the field and you see two receivers wide open by 10 yards, if we can see that, Collins at his height of 6'6" or 6'5", he should be able to see it too. So I'm not going to beat you up anymore, but sometimes you deserve a beating. But you did get a victory in this game. The team is pumped up. We got a lot of positive attitude. But Lamont Jordan said in the post-game press conference that the real challenge and what will really show the heart of this team is this next Sunday against Kansas City in their home. Remember last year, Raider fans, we went to a game that we were supposed to lose for sure. It was a guaranteed loss. We were going to go into Denver. They were on a roll. They were on their way to the playoffs. They were talking about going to the Super Bowl, the whole 9 yards. And we went into their home, and we beat them. We beat them with guts. We beat them with everything we had, but we took them down just in Raider style. It was beautiful. Langston Walker's block of the last kick was excellent. It was beautiful. And anybody who saw it, it was a beautiful game in the snow. We had some great plays. Curry had a great catch. What a great catch in the end zone. Long story short, this team, as it sits right now, can go into Kansas City and beat these guys. I'll have a little more detail on it here in the next couple of days on the pregame show. But for the postgame show for the Tennessee Titans, all I have to do is say this: we are victorious. We won, and it improves our record, and it improves the attitude around the league as far as all the Raider fans are concerned. And it improves, like I said, improves the team's attitude, and perhaps, just perhaps, we can go into Kansas City and kick their ass. So, until the next couple days, I will be out. This is a short podcast, but it's a sweet podcast. This is Raider Greg, and this is the Raider Nation Podcast. I want to remind all the fans to visit the RaiderNationPodcast.com and vote Podcast Alley. It's a new month. We need to keep up there. And just so it's no surprise to anybody, the Boltcast is #1. I can't stand the Bolts. Matter of fact, I hate the Chargers now more than I hate the Broncos, just because they're #1 in Podcast Alley. Flips me out. So, if you can get on there and vote for us, keep us up there in the top 3 anyways. I don't expect to be #1, but come on, Raider fans. Take the 3 minutes it takes. Get on my site, click on the vote icon, and vote Raider Nation Podcast. It's not a big deal. It won't take that much time. It makes a big difference to the Raider fans out there. It makes a huge difference to me. So, until further ado, this is Raider Greg. I am out.